Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm just playing a playlist on Kovaak. This is one that I played a handful of times when I was aim training more seriously. Maybe played it 10 times. I was relatively new to mouse and keyboard at that time, so I wouldn't be surprised if I do hit my high score here or get close to it on some of these exercises. The issue I have with this exercise specifically is my sensitivity is relatively low, so you can see my cursor jumping around. That's me frantically trying to keep my mouse in the middle of the screen while running out of mouse pad. So excuse the joltiness here. So this is the Voltaic Apex Advanced playlist. I'd recommend it actually to anyone who's relatively new to aim training. Probably a bit of a baptism of fire, but sometimes those are what's needed to make improvements quickly. So some of these exercises, because I haven't played them for a while, I'm not actually sure what it is I'm meant to be doing, which is why this one started so slowly for me. If I remember correctly, I actually play this one again because I was unsatisfied with my performance. So this one, from start to finish, this playlist, took me about 17 minutes, and some of those, that would have been a lot shorter if I hadn't replayed a couple of exercises. So maybe 15 minutes from start to finish, and if I was new to aim training, I'd be looking to just warm up in this playlist. Certainly would make me focus and make me pay attention to where my crosshair is, etc., ready for playing whatever game it is I then went into. So 15 minutes in the grand scheme of things isn't too much of a sacrifice of your game time, and I certainly find it is worthwhile, the sort of gains that I make as a result of dipping into an aim trainer. Here I am just trying to remind myself how Kovaak works. We do a little bit better this time. Not a lot better, but a little bit. So I'm interested to hear from those of you that are listening, if you've got this far into the video, what your favourite playlists are, and actually whether you think the benchmarking in Kovaak is worth the price. I was surprised to see that it had a price, actually, noting that you have to pay for Kovaak and you don't have to pay for other aim trainers. So please, if you have experience of it, I'd be really interested. I don't suppose experienced aim trainers would be clicking on this video, to be fair. But I'm interested to hear from you nonetheless. If you've dipped in, what it involves, benefits there are. It's about £1.60 per month, I believe. The benchmarking feature, which is quite cheap, I suppose, but over a year it's probably close to, I don't know, 17, 18, 20 pounds, which I'm not sure I will end up doing that, to be honest with you. I always find this exercise quite difficult, and it's really good for practicing your finer adjustments, I suppose, when you're tracking. You heard me mention already that my sensitivity was too low in one of the previous exercises, and now it feels like it's that little bit too high. So it's probably in a bit of a sweet spot for me in terms of accuracy and speed. So my sensitivity, for those that are interested, is 800 dpi and 1.2 on Apex Legends. So not really slow, probably not quite medium, somewhere in between slow and medium. But when I'm in Apex Legends, I tend to play on 800 DPI and a sensitivity of 1, which is really low. But I do find in that game it just helps to have a lower sensitivity, for me at least, for the mid to long range fights, and then I do my best in the short range. So these little bots are crafty little beggars. I find it interesting watching this back, how far my cursor swings to the right when the bot changes direction. I always find these videos interesting to edit, or any video that holds my gameplay, because it just gives me an opportunity to spot things that you wouldn't notice if you weren't making a video about it or reviewing your gameplay. It almost looks like I'm flicking it further the opposite direction, doesn't it? Which is certainly not what I was trying to do. For those of you that are mouse enthusiasts, I'm actually using the Razer Orochi V2 in this video and in the previous video, and I've got quite big hands, 21.5 by about 11 centimeters. So you can imagine with a mouse that small and with hands that big, it's very I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but a typical fingertip grip. So just my fingertips on the mouse, preparing myself for my new purchase, which is the G-Wolves HSK Pro 4K, which was a very impulsive purchase. I'm looking forward to that arriving. It should be here sometime in December. Not a cheap mouse, that HSK Pro, but I've always wanted to try the Kovaak M2K and just could not ever for the rest of my life justify spending £300 on a mouse. So when I heard there was a mouse releasing that is a very similar weight, which was the reason I wanted to try the Kovaak M2K, I figured, I was in the market for potentially a Razer Death Adder V3 anyway at about £150. So instead of buying one of those, I decided to buy the G-Wolves HSK Pro. There'll be a review of sorts on this channel when that mouse arrives. I'll do an unboxing and a bit of a review to see how it feels, whether it's what I was hoping it would be or not. Again, I find it interesting watching this back, because you can see my cursor's always lagging just slightly behind the target in this exercise. I wonder if I was to practice that one a lot, if that would improve. I like to think that it would. I suspect we'll see something similar here in this one. I quite enjoy the smoothing exercises. I find there's a lot of value in them actually. There's been quite a few times in games where someone's been airborne and I've tracked them smoothly, shot them out of the sky. Very satisfying when it happens. Doesn't happen too often. But nice to hone your skills for when those scenarios arise so you can take advantage of them. Which is really what I find useful about the aim training, is if I hadn't practiced aim training before jumping into a game, if I just relied on picking up my aim as I play, noting that I was relatively new to mouse and keyboard, so I've only been playing on mouse and keyboard since May 2021, so not really a long time, I suppose, a year, maybe a year and a half, I've been playing mouse and keyboard, but I find if I hadn't trained specific scenarios or specific types of shots, then when they happen in game I wouldn't have a hope in hell of actually hitting those shots, which is why I enjoy doing the aim training, because I can quite often recognise when I do a good shot in game which scenario it was that I used to prepare myself for that situation, which aim training scenario should I say. I really wasn't planning to talk for the duration of this playlist, but I'm doing a good job of rambling. Hopefully it's not too annoying for you to listen to. So I really struggle with this one actually. I'm not sure why I struggle so much. Either the target is moving too fast, or I'm just slightly off each time I hit it. I can't remember what my score was here. I don't expect it to be very good. And straight after this playlist I jumped into Battlefield 2042 actually, and played a few games as a sniper, and I found it very fun. Found it extremely beneficial to run some of these micro adjustment sort of tracking and click timing exercises, and you'll see more of those coming up in a moment. I think they're called passive. I'm not sure if that's the scenario type or the reload sort of mechanic involved. Yeah, you see it coming up now, look. I really don't get on with this one at all. I don't enjoy this exercise, and it's so bloody difficult. It puts pressure on you when you miss, not to miss again, because you don't want to have to reload, because it wastes time. I do end up reloading a couple of times in this video, which is unfortunate, but can't win them all. Very difficult, this one. I don't know why I struggle with it so much. Maybe a little bit of psychology with the reload being there, because I'm typically quite enjoy these ones where the targets move around and you have to flick onto them. I certainly like this one. I get on better here than I did in the last one. Don't think I get too many reloads in this round. I've had one so far. It's quite satisfying, this one. Quite enjoying watching it back, which is sad to admit, I think. A second reload there. It's a shame. I certainly recognise this task, or this Kovaak's aim training scenario, as a good one for the wingman in Apex or single fire guns. In any shooting game, close range. I'm not really sure what the point is of this one, honestly, but I do it anyway. My main criticism with Kovaak's is it's so difficult to find the scenarios that you want to use, and it's not really intuitive in terms of how to add new playlists or create these things, or if I wanted to do a tracking heavy playlist, where would I go for that? Maybe it is, maybe I'm just not using it properly, but certainly not as easy to use as something like Aim Labs, which I think I do prefer Kovaaks to Aim Labs, but I wish it was easier to just get on and use. I see it all the time on Reddit or wherever it is that people just don't understand what they should be doing or what exercises or scenarios are useful for what games. And yeah, I think the benchmarking, if it is what I think it is in terms of helping you identify what you're good at and what you need to work on, would be a great tool for new to aim training players. But it's unfortunate they've locked it behind a paywall, because I think only the enthusiasts would invest in that, honestly. Particularly as Aim Labs is free to play, getting them to buy Kovaaks in the first place is an obstacle. And then having a feature locked behind a paywall, albeit not an expensive one, is not a good way of encouraging people to use it. So here we are, I think this is the last one now. And then you can, if you've made it this far in the video, be rid of me after this exercise. So first reload there. So again, it's a little bit unfortunate, but we can't win them all. I'm a little bit more confident. I think you can probably tell that. It's one of the things I find when I aim train a lot, which, like I said earlier, I haven't done for a while now, is that I don't tend to think about my aim. I just kind of, because I've been practicing it so much, I just do it. Whereas when I aim train less, I clearly have to think about it a little bit more. And there we are. Hopefully you enjoyed that video, and I'll catch you in the next one.